Kalispera, and thank you for joining us, whether in person or from afar, to celebrate Founders' Day. It makes sense on Founders' Day to look back, not to fix our gaze on some untouchable past, but to acknowledge the steps that brought us here, the choices, the risks, the work. In this spirit, we introduce the Founders' Day Award to recognize those who have shaped the CYA through their dedication and innovation, whether faculty members who inspire through outstanding pedagogy and academic excellence, or staff members who support the well-being and success of our students. Memory should be a foundation, not fossilized admiration. Ismene Phylactopoulou did not build the school to be embalmed in history. She arrived in Greece as a refugee, a life interrupted, dislocated. She could have clung to what was lost, but instead she built something new, something meant to be inhabited, to grow, to evolve. This ability to transform hardship into possibility is what defined her, and it is what must continue to define us. What does it mean for an institution to carry forward that kind of adaptability? To found something is always, in some sense, an act of defiance, of refusing to accept the limits of the present. In a male-dominated academic world, Phylactopoulou insisted on something radical, that Greece, in all its complexity, could be a classroom, that young people from across the world could come here, walk its streets, sit in its light, and live changed. CYA began in 1962, and for more than 60 years, generations of students have done exactly that. Our earliest students belonged to the baby boomers shaped by post-war optimism and social upheaval. Then came Generation X, who grew up in a rapidly globalizing world, followed by millennials who came of age during an era of digital transformation. And now, Generation Z, the digital natives, experiencing an education shaped by new norms in a post-pandemic world. In that time, history itself has changed, and so has CYA. We have grown, expanded, adapted. New fields of study, new collaborations, new ways of understanding the world, but always the same core belief that education is not just what happens in the mind, but what happens in the whole self. This is where care comes in. Care is a word that can be misused, made to sound like a policy or a service. But real care, the kind that changes a person, runs deeper. It is the quiet work of noticing, of making space for someone to step into themselves. It is the understanding that when students come here, they are not just acquiring knowledge. They are reorienting themselves to the world. That can be exhilarating, but it can also be difficult. And so for decades, CYA has made care part of its foundation, not as an afterthought, but as an essential piece of what we do. For nearly half of CYA's existence, that care was in many ways shaped by Nadia Meliniotis. Over 30 years, she did not just tend to the needs of the students, she anticipated them. She created an environment where students felt seen, heard, known. And so today, as we honor her, we're not just marking the past. We are looking at what it means to carry this work forward. What does duty of care mean in a world that keeps shifting? How do we make sure that what CYA offers is not just an education, but an experience that holds people, that moves them, that remains with them long after they leave? This is the conversation we will have today. One, I am honored to moderate between Nadia Meliniotis, former Executive Director of Student Affairs, and Jennifer Holland, Student Affairs Advisor. Nadia, a deeply respected figure among CYA alumni, faculty, and staff, studied international relations and counseling education with the goal of becoming a diplomat. Instead, she found her place at college here in Athens, where for over 3 decades, she discovered an unexpected way to put her diplomatic skills into practice, helping students navigate cultural transitions, supporting and guiding them with her warmth and unwavering commitment to their well-being. Nadia is also always on the move. She's a runner, hiker, and tango dancer, and she finds joy in cooking. These days, she's preparing to embark on the Camino de Santiago, the pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. Jennifer, a CYA alumna of 1999, and part of our team ever since, has long been a steady presence for students, offering guidance, encouragement, and a listening ear through every challenge and triumph. Tonight is not just an occasion for celebration, but for reflection, a moment to consider how care, like education, must keep evolving. Because to truly honor the past is not just to remember it, it is to carry its best parts with us into whatever comes next. Mr. Phylactopoulou, would you like to say a few words? Yeah. Before we start our discussion.
I was asked to say a few words, and I will do that gladly. And let me speak from the heart about, well, I will speak from the heart about Nadia, but I want to speak from the heart about CYA and about what prompted her to do what she did. First of all, just think of this. 1960, 1958, Greece was just recuperating. People did not have any money. Families were living very, very modest lives. The Phylactopoulou family had one child, me, one child in the United States, okay. They were living as teachers, 2 salaries, very modest living. And then comes Ismene Phylactopoulou, who is an emancipated radical, she only called her, radical woman, yes. And she says, listen, Phil, she took him for a walk actually to Vouliagmeni because it was nice. Probably she felt that the romantic setup would facilitate her proposal. She said, look, I want to start this program. He said, what? Want to start this program? Because there are so many requests from the United States for studies, Hellenic studies. And he just could not get it. He could not get how this woman would abandon basically the family by giving up one of the 2 salaries, That's all there was. So, yeah, act of defiance, as Theoni called it, it was. It was the pursuit of a dream, of doing something for herself, of doing something for Greece. And I come to the second reason that I wanted to speak about, which is what was in her mind was not. Yeah, okay, we are discussing care today. It's very important in study abroad. Care is very important. But what she had in mind was not care. I mean, care was an extension of her role as a mother. She was not. She didn't set out to do an institution of care. She's an institution of Hellenic studies. She wanted to promote Greece because that's what she felt was needed at the time. Okay? So care came naturally to her. And now I come to Nadia, one of the first people I met when I came to CYA in 1987. Well, maybe it was a couple of years after I came, was Nadia. And she had a different role, but at that time, but then she soon enough came into her new role. She was always super energetic, super, a multitasker. The type of person that you would say, well, if you want something done, you give it to Nadia because she can do it while she's doing something else, plus she's busy, and if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. She was always a health buff, a gym enthusiast who could combine successfully her role as a mother of two, one of them is here today, yeah, a mother of two sons. And she did that brilliantly. She was then, as she is now, I think, the most selfless, generous giver in all occasions. A volunteer at all times, a kind soul, a friend, and a positive force in the lives of all of us, but particularly in the lives of our students. And in this role, she followed the footsteps of our founder, whom we celebrate today, in that they both managed well that aspect of study abroad, which was welfare and sincere daily care of our students. And this is the reason why so many generations of students ended up adoring Nadia for the role she played in their lives. This is in this sense, it is very befitting that she was chosen to be the first recipient of the Founders Award, a brilliant new concept and departure that I'm very grateful to Theoni for. The school owes Nadia a lot, and this is a very well-deserved recognition of this role. She has left behind us a legacy of promotion of Hellenic studies, because she is a promoter of Hellenic studies, among other things, and of personalized care for our students, which is the hallmark of CYA. It is what makes CYA, in a sense, unique in the field of study abroad. And it is a tradition that we want to cherish and that we want to continue. So these are the words I had to say, and I think Nadia should be applauded for everything she's done. Thank you.
So it's a free discussion between the two of you. I just want to set the theme. We have 3 topics to discuss. We often tell our students upon their arrival in Greece that they have a home here. But what does it actually take to create a true home space in a study abroad context? How do we balance providing comfort while also encouraging personal growth? And given the students come with different expectations of what home means, how do we shape an environment that is both supportive and culturally inclusive?
Start, suppose. Am I sitting here or here? What's the best way? Here?
We can.
Okay. The home starts before they come here, which means I usually know who they are. I usually know what the interest is. I know they have personal statements, which I make sure I read. I made sure I read, so I know the interests, the hobbies, what we would like to see and do in Greece. So when they come here, I used to see each one of them on arrivals day individually. I remember we had 120 students, I think the most, and I spent like hours seeing each one of them coming to my office, introducing themselves. I asked them about, I already read the files, I asked them about what they do, what is the interest, the hobbies, the school, and we had a long discussion. They told me what would they would like to see in Greece, why are they here? It's not only studying, it's to get involved and see the culture. And I had ideas all of a sudden for all of them. And after this whole procedure finished, I practically knew all of them in a way, and I was ready to open my arms and give them the space they needed, the space they needed as an educational organization, the space they needed as a family, as a mother. And at the same time, I was ready to give them stuff to do. I was ready to get them involved in organizations. And when the homestays came along, this was another way. They had a home to stay, rather than being in an apartment. So Arrivals Day was very important for me. And then later on, when the students I did not see them for a week or something, I used to call them in and say, may I see you? And then all of a sudden said, is anything wrong? I said, no, nothing is wrong. I just like to see you. And I'll ask them, well, how is your first week? Is there anything I can do? Are you happy? Do you like to get involved in anything? So it was a home immediately, they felt like coming by anytime during the day. And I made sure they came without any reason. I saw them in the dining room and became a little community the first weeks, mostly in the first month. And then it just expanded through the whole semester, and it got better and better. And I always felt or smelled, as a mother educator, I don't know, that something was wrong. And then all of a sudden, hey, Carol, come inside, let's talk. And I started conversation, had nothing to do with the subject, and slowly we got into the subject and what the problem was. That comes maybe to the second round that we have to deal with students' problems. And I always spotted the ones who had somehow in the dining room or walking around that there was a problem there. And I thought they were happy the first month they were here. I felt there was a home for them. And us as an institution, not only me, we were always well around and I still had the feelings to hug them. I don't know if that's possible now, but then, I hugged them and I cared for them, and it was a hugging office. Everybody would come in, it was hugging first, and then we talked about the problems. Now this is a bit difficult, but we find other ways to hug them. So this is my short version of a home space.
Well, having been a student at CYA and having been cared for by Nadia, I can say that your method of putting us in apartments worked very well for me.
Yes, this I
Yes, you
forgot
did a
to
good
say.
job, and I don't know how you did it because I was much older than the rest of the group, but you found 2 people and an apartment that was perfect for us. We got along great. I had my own room because I was the older student. And it's true, Nadia always had a hug for us. So I will never, I mean, I still remember those early days especially. And I have to say that not that much has changed. Nadia started a good thing, and we basically took it over, and we're following. And we haven't had to make many changes. It's true, they come here from their own homes with their expectations. And most of the time, you know, people are ready for the adventure, which is great. We will, again, look at their student, you know, their input onto their housing forms, all of that. And we do our best to put them in a situation in the apartment where there's enough common ground to make them feel like they belong and you know, they're accepted. But not too much of, you don't want everything to be the same because they also want to meet new people and learn how to navigate relationships with maybe some people that they wouldn't choose normally to be friends with, but then they get along and it's great. We try to do that, but the cultural thing, you know, we can look at that on lots of levels, but I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is, again, they're coming from other countries, most of them from the States or from universities in the States, and they have a different kind of room and the different expectations. And I feel happy that they come and they live in Pangradi. We give them a really good opportunity to live in these apartments. They live with Greek people, Greek families. This is a cultural lesson for them. Sometimes they have interaction with the people in the buildings, we hope anyway. And so this is like a first step into Greek life, being comfortable, meeting new people, but still being comfortable enough to step out of the self that you're eventually going to step into when you form it even better later on towards the end of the program. I think I covered most of that.
Before I go to the second, I really like to say also that the apartment assignments was extremely helpful, extremely helpful. Because they matched and they had the same interests, but on the other hand, they're out to enjoy the neighborhood, and the neighborhood was very friendly to them. They got to know the baker, the other, you know, the place with sells sweets, and immediately they got involved, and we want them to do that rather than staying in the apartment. Very few cases were people who were loners. Very few cases that they had to be pushed a little bit and they had to be encouraged to go out. I said, you're in Greece, you have to just enjoy it. Things are different, but let us talk about it if you think there's a great difference.
And hearing that from you was really helpful because, you know, you were like the Greek mama and you really cared a lot about them and us, and we knew it. And so whatever you said was the word. We went by that.
So I guess that's for the home space.
There is an inherent tension in creating a home space for everyone, while recognizing that students have different personalities, cultural backgrounds, as we said, or home cultures and expectations. When these differences lead to conflicts or discomfort, how do we decide when to step in and when to let students navigate challenges on their own? How do we ensure consistency in our approach while also accounting for individual circumstances? And what challenges arise from balancing student autonomy with institutional responsibility?
Well, again, it's like the personal involvement, I have to say that. It's when there is an issue and they used to come to my office and we talked about it, and before going to the words, would you like to see somebody? Are you comfortable talking to me? Would you like to, you know, why, where something happened? All these questions to find out what exactly is going on. And then I gave examples of things I know, of people I know, of myself. I didn't right away encourage them to go to a therapist for problem or mental health issues. I asked them if they want to get involved in a sport or get to do something to make them feel better. Usually they talk to me and they open up, and sometimes I even knew why they were so upset and why it was very difficult for them to cope with Greek society. And they told me several examples, and I tried to be the mother help. I wasn't ready to those days. Now it's easy to say, would you like to see somebody? But they didn't want to see somebody anyway. At the first time, they were happy just listening to a mother who went through cases, who've seen cases like yours, and a lot of the time, I asked if they wanted help offered, but they had to really want the help. Otherwise, it's not. I didn't feel like it was laissez-faire or indifference. But the people are different, so it's a special personality and a special person that have to be dealt unique, and just be close to every problem they might have.
Again, I can say that, okay, I learned from Nadia, so I start with that foundation. And there are indeed some conflicts, and you do have to decide sometimes if you do or you don't intervene. And I would say that unless, obviously, we don't find out about them unless somebody complains. So right there, you can kind of get a handle on what's, the severity of the situation. And most of the time, it isn't very, very severe. It might have to do with different ideas of kitchen order or, dishes and things like that. And most of the time, those kinds of situations are best handled among each other. The only intervention I think that we may do for that sometimes is to maybe send a general notice to remind everybody that they need to, stay up on apartment hygiene, or, make sure, or do you need some extra cookware, because we see that, some people aren't able to cook because the pots are still in the sink, but you don't say it that way, but that kind of thing. So usually we won't intervene much, and that will be the most of it. But when somebody's health or well-being is, affected by it, or if a small problem, spreads to the rest of the apartment and there's general unhappiness in the apartment, and these things come out at the beginning of the semester usually, and you don't let it fester long, right? You can tell if it affects more than one or two people in a bad way. Sometimes we will gather people together, have conversations. There's a much greater emphasis on mental health among these young people now, and there's less of a stigma, at least between them, about, getting another party in to help them, feel safe during a conversation that might be a little intimidating for some people. So mental health is more asked for now, I would say. That would be one difference between now and then, and we're happy to offer that, and it's great. But yes, we try not to intervene unless this happens, and that kind of makes me think of how to be consistent, because this comes up during those issues. You may make a change or move somebody to another apartment because, judging by situation, this is what we felt was the best thing to do. But inevitably, other people will come out and they will look, for similar accommodation. And that's where we, as administrators and people who care about these people and listen to these young people, we have the right to kind of measure. Not everybody's situation is the same. So as long as what's happening matches like our beliefs, our core beliefs, ourselves and with the institution, I don't think we need to feel guilty about making some concessions for some people and not others, because not everybody's situation is the same.
And I remember before we intervened and before we talked to them, we asked them to have apartment meetings,
Yes,
and then they all together discuss
very
it.
helpful.
Yeah, and
So
if this
helpful.
doesn't work, then we try and intervene. But always we think it's the grown-up kids, let's leave them
Yeah.
a little bit alone. And then we're there, alert,
Yeah.
and if something they need, we jump in.
And then they feel so good about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
even
they
if
know
they're
that
not-
we're here, they know that we can do it ourselves, but they know there's somebody there in the office I can always go
Yeah.
to and discuss my problem. I think.
Ready for the third point and the final?
Let's have that.
Well,
What's the third?
what's in everyone's mind is over the years we've seen shifts in students' expectations, needs, and overall well-being. Based on your experience, what are some of the biggest differences between students then and students now? How has our duty of care evolved, particularly since you mentioned it, when it comes to supporting mental health? And what are some of the most pressing challenges we face today that may not have been as prominent in the past?
Well, I can say the issues that I had to deal, not very serious, but so I don't forget any issues. The commonly presented issues those days, they're not that old, is homesickness, getting along with peers, loneliness, feelings of inadequacy, difficulty of adapting in another country, but we kind of talked about it. And as a student at first, I was in touch with the students on an individual basis. And not all of them are equally ready for some help, encouragement, but I think as student affairs directors, we must anticipate the problem before the crisis starts. And the role of communication should begin before the crisis starts, so we're ready to take it. But again, an offer help does not always means it's accepted. It all depends on the student. And how students feel affects always how well they think. Feeling and thinking cannot be separated. And personal matters can affect learning and lifestyle. That's it, I think I have to say very briefly.
I think that the issues we face are the same ones that Nadia said, and maybe I would add to that, maybe differences of opinion that can cause medium to bigger disagreements, and for that, we do our best to somehow support people to listen to each other, actively listen, be curious, and instead of close themselves off to the other person's opinion or beliefs. And it works a lot of the time because our students come here to learn. So it's another chance to learn, I guess you could look at it that way, right? Again, a difference would be big emphasis and promotion of good mental health. Students come, and I think I wasn't 20 when I started at CYA, so maybe it was different. My perspective was a little different, but I find that young people today are really aware of their body health. We all can get online now and see, what happens with our body and what this might be and the symptoms, and they, stay on top of it. So I find that it's almost easier to handle that because they're ready to go and get checked out and the doctor and that sort of thing.
Is still anorexia a problem? Because it was a huge problem when I was
We do have it, but it isn't that frequent.
that frequent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a student, I think it had to be really stay in the hospital for some days. But that was very,
Thankfully, no, we don't have it that often. And I find that because there's less of a stigma, people that do come across, they do find out that there's, an issue that they need to pay attention to, they're ready to do it. So they go and they get the care they need, and they get whatever else they need, whether it's medication or, more frequent therapy, or they know their needs when they get here. They know, and that makes it very helpful. You know, easy and pleasant to help people.
Can you ask them like about, do you feel like you can ask them if they need any medication? Could you ask them?
Yes, I feel I can do that. And I think they mostly appreciate it. Some people are maybe a little private, and then they make that known, you know. But if we are just always coming at them with care, like you
that's
do,
very important.
then people are willing to listen and they really appreciate the care.
Yeah, and then continue to ask after.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? Do you need anything else? I'm here if you need me, and you know.
Right.
And,
Like you never made anybody feel like their situation was silly.
Yeah,
or
no.
I used to look forward to going in your office and giving you updates and stuff,
Yes. So
getting
many
your
years-
advice.
So many years ago.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Have we missed something?
How many?
I was wondering if we covered the whole question.
Oh, I think we
I
covered.
lost track of my, okay.
Are there any questions anyone would like to ask?
Those people here live with us, like, you know, we are one group here. So I don't see okay.
You have to step through. Oh, okay.
We don't have anybody that does not.
I just wanted to share something and maybe formulate it into a question. I'm lucky enough in my job to be able to read some of the students' experiences. I upload the student ambassadors questionnaire on the website, and there is a general question there about their impression in CYA and what they found meaningful during their time here. And what many students say often is that they feel that CYA staff really cares about them, and they say that as a rare thing. They contrast it with their experience back at their own institutions. And I think a lot of that comes from your department. And I'm very curious professionally. I'm allowed to show care through my work, but it has some boundaries. But I know that you come really close to students, and I'm just curious about how that feels like for you. What is it like professionally, and if it has challenges for you?
I don't know. No challenge for me. It comes so naturally. I cannot even explain how it happens. It's there. And I don't have a second thought. I do whatever I need to do and whatever I have to do. And that's all. No second thought. Just jump into the case, be with the student, do whatever is needed, do whatever I can make them feel better. Usually I get parents writing me or we used to call them, not anymore, or sending me emails letting me know that how lucky the child, boy or girl, was, that having me she went through a very difficult time. So, or, you know, sometimes I used to call the parents and say that that has nothing to do with somebody not feeling very well. It has to do with an exceptional student, that's a parenthesis here, who was here like a star, a very good student, very well adapted, very polite. And I've done that, I think, maybe 5 times in this 33 years. I called the parents, the mother at home, and I said, I'd like to say congratulations for the child you've risen. And she was crying, every mother that cried on the phone. And I'm so happy that you told me, and I'm so feel grateful, and you made my day, because as a mother, I felt that this other mother who is so far away needs to know that she has raised a beautiful and an intelligent and polite and child. And I've done that, I think, 5, 10 times, I don't remember, but I felt good, they felt good, and I thought it was important.
Definitely. I think I enjoy hugs. I don't get them enough, and sometimes I'm embarrassed to ask for them. But I think I have found
Let's
that
only give you all hugs when you're all done, to Jennifer.
I find that there are lots of people like me, and they're 20 or 21. So like, I do agree that now people are a bit more, you know, aware of their personal space, and I respect that. I have found that during close times with students, they often, at the end of an exchange, will ask, could I have a hug, or could I give you a hug?
Yeah.
And that
They
sort of,
say that.
yeah, and that sort of gave me the courage to start doing the same thing. So it happened this weekend, as a matter of fact. You know, we had something we had to take care of, and when it was all done, I could tell that that person wanted a hug,
yes.
but so did I.
Yeah.
So I said, can I give you a? She was like, yes, even before I
So
finished the
cute.
sentence.
That's
and we
so
hugged
cute.
each other. Yeah. So
Can I-
that's how it happens. But for somebody, you can tell, sometimes they don't want it, and that's fine. Yeah. I think, yeah.
Thank you both for sharing your experiences with us. I see quite a few faculty members in the audience, and I know they're thankful that you have taken so good care of the students and continue taking very good care of the students, and you allow them to focus on the reason the reason they're here, to learn, to study, to see the city, to fall in love with the city, the people, and the country. And it's all thanks to you and the care you show to so many generations of students. Thank you. And now, Nadia, we have a little present for you, and to thank you, and something that will remind you of this evening we spent together. And will you allow me? It's here. Opportunity to unbox it.
Hi Nadia, on this Founders Day, CYA thanks you for the care you have shown our students. Thank you so much.
My office was right next to her office, so students would line up outside. And they would say, the thing you would hear repeatedly, hi Nadia, hi Nadia. So, hi Nadia, here.
Now, you know this, hi Nadia, this is a joke now, I have to like, like, you know, that's a joke. When he calls me on the phone, he goes, hi Nadia. It's like, it's, anyway. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. Good evening to faculty, staff, students, friends. Is that okay? I stand before you today truly humbled and deeply honored to receive this prestigious award at the special day, Founders Day. My heart is full of gratitude and my spirit is brimming with appreciation. Receiving this award is not just a personal honor, it is a statement to the incredible work we all do together to assist students in every way. It's a recognition of the incredible team that supports the mission and vision of student affairs. This recognition is not just mine, but a reflection of the hard work, dedication, and support of so many of you who have played a great role in my life. Your resilience, enthusiasm, and diverse perspectives challenge me to do better. There is hard work, commitment, and passion that we all put into ensuring our students not only to succeed academically, but also to thrive personally, socially, emotionally, psychologically, ethically, and many more. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. As I accept this award, I am reminded of the challenges we have faced. The landscape of higher education is ever-changing, and we must continue to adapt and innovate. Let us continue to strive for excellence and ensure that every student feels valued and supported. Student affairs is so much more than just providing services. It's about creating an environment where students feel seen, heard, and valued. It's about supporting students through their challenges, celebrating their successes, and helping them grow into the leaders they are destined to become. Those students are the heart of everything I have done. Everything we are entrusted with the privilege of shaping the future, whether through our advising, mentorship, programming, or advocacy. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to make a difference in their lives. Thank you for believing in me and encouraging me to pursue this path. It has been a dream job for 33 years. It's not finished yet. I have another page. Okay. Now, I will address the students either anywhere and they listen, to our students, to my students. You have inspired me every day. Your resilience, curiosity, and passion fuel the work we do. I have witnessed your personal transformations and academic growth, and it fills my heart with pride to see the impact we have together. You are the reason we are all here. You are the heart of everything I have done. And now to my colleagues. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the administration, faculty, and staff who continually support our work. Your collaboration and unwavering commitment to the student experience have been instrumental in making our vision a reality. In closing, I would like to say that this award is not the culmination of our work, but rather a reminder that we must continue to evolve, innovate, and push the boundaries of what we can do for our students. I'm excited for what lies ahead and remain committed to our shared mission. I'll always be here whenever you need me. Thank you all once again. This honor is one I will cherish deeply, but I will stand by and look forward to continuing this journey with all of you. Mr. Phylactopoulos, last and not least, I thank you for believing in me and encourage me to pursue this wonderful path. It has been a dream job again for 33 years. And, oops, as they say at the Oscars, I would like to thank my family and loved ones for their unwavering support.
thank you all for being here this evening, and thank you for those of you who joined us from afar via Zoom, and have a good evening.